What if the most dangerous plant for your walls is also the one most people still recommend? For decades, homeowners have planted ivy believing it was the perfect solution for ugly fences, cracked walls, and empty garden spaces. And at first, it looks beautiful. Thick green coverage, fast growth, that classic storybook cottage appearance. But behind that beauty, ivy quietly destroys what it touches. Its invasive roots creep into brick cracks. Moisture becomes trapped behind the leaves. Paint peels. Wood rots. Masonry weakens year after year until repairs become unavoidable. Thousands of homeowners discover the damage too late, only after the vine has fused itself to the structure. But here's the part that most gardening channels never tell you. You do not need ivy to create a lush vertical garden. There are climbing plants that grow even faster than ivy, without destroying your home. Some explode upward by several feet in a single month. Others produce breathtaking flowers, powerful fragrance, edible fruit, or attract hummingbirds and butterflies all season long. Some thrive in brutal summer heat. Some survive freezing winters. Some bloom for months without stopping. And one plant on this list is so unique that horticulturists say it can actually help protect masonry instead of damaging it. These are the forgotten climbers that modern landscaping pushed aside in favor of boring ivy walls. Today, we're counting down 13 incredible climbing plants that grow faster than ivy while keeping your wall, fences, and structures completely safe. And trust me, the final plant changes everything people think they know about climbing vines. Welcome to the channel where we uncover the growing wisdom modern gardening forgot. If you love natural privacy, living walls, fragrant gardens, and plants that transform spaces without destroying them, subscribe and let me know in the comments. What structure would you cover first if you had the perfect climbing plant? Now let's begin with number 13, the vine that can literally grow nearly a foot in a single day. Number 13, hops. Most people think of hops as nothing more than an ingredient used in beer. But gardeners who have actually grown this plant know a completely different reality. Hops is one of the fastest growing perennial climbers on Earth. Not fast for a garden plant, not pretty fast during summer. Truly explosive growth. During peak season, mature hop vines can grow nearly 12 inches in a single day. That means if you leave for a weekend, you may come home to find the plant several feet taller than before. Very few climbing plants in the world can match that kind of speed. And unlike ivy, hops climbs without strangling or damaging your walls. Instead of attaching itself with invasive roots, hops uses soft twining stems that wrap naturally around whatever support you provide: strings, poles, pergolas, trellises, or wire frames. The wall behind the plant remains untouched and protected. That alone makes it a far safer option for homeowners. But the real magic begins once summer fully arrives. By midsummer, the vine transforms into a massive curtain of dense green foliage that creates instant privacy and shade. Patios suddenly feel cooler. Harsh sunlight becomes filtered through layers of moving leaves. Even plain fences begin looking like living green architecture. Then come the cones. The pale green hop flowers dangle from the vines like ornaments hanging from a forest canopy. They release a subtle earthy fragrance that becomes stronger in warm evening air. Even people who know nothing about gardening stop and ask what the plant is. And here's something many people love about hops. Every winter, the entire vine dies back to the ground. At first, that sounds disappointing, but it actually solves one of the biggest problems with aggressive climbers. You never end up fighting a permanent woody monster wrapped around your structures for decades. Each spring, the plant starts fresh from the roots and launches into another season of explosive growth. It gives you the beauty and speed of an aggressive vine, without the long-term nightmare. Historically, hops covered garden arches and courtyards across Europe centuries before modern landscaping existed. Farmers planted it for practical reasons, but homeowners quickly realized something else. Few plants create dramatic vertical coverage faster. And because hops grows upwards so aggressively, it becomes perfect for hiding ugly chain-link fences, old sheds, air conditioning units, utility corners, or bare pergolas that need life immediately. Still, hops is not perfect for every garden. The vines become surprisingly heavy by late summer, so weak supports can collapse under the weight. A thin decorative trellis often isn't enough. Strong wooden posts, metal frames, or pergolas work best. It also loves sunlight. The more sun it receives, the faster it grows. But if your goal is simple, fast coverage without structural damage, hops may be one of the most underrated climbing plants ever ignored by modern landscaping. Ivy grows slowly and quietly destroys walls. Hops grows like a living green waterfall, then disappears peacefully each winter before becoming a problem. That's a trade most gardeners would happily take. Number 12, Clematis. If hops is the king of speed, then Clematis is the undisputed queen of beauty. Few climbing plants in the world can compete with the sheer elegance of a mature clematis in full bloom. Some varieties produce delicate star-shaped flowers that look almost weightless in the wind. Others create massive blooms so large they resemble dinner plates hanging from the vine. And unlike ivy, Clematis gives you something far more dramatic than endless green leaves. It gives you color explosions that can completely transform a garden wall into living artwork. But what makes Clematis truly special is the way it climbs. This plant does not use damaging roots or sticky pads. Instead, it climbs using tiny leaf tendrils, delicate curling stems that gently wrap around thin supports like wire, string, bamboo poles, or narrow trellis slats. The actual wall behind the plant remains untouched. That means you can enjoy massive floral coverage without worrying about cracks, trapped moisture, or structural damage years later. And the variety is almost unbelievable. There are over 300 species and thousands of cultivated varieties of Clematis. Some bloom in soft lavender tones. Others explode in deep purple, bright pink, creamy white, crimson red, or even blue shades so intense they almost look artificial. Certain varieties bloom in spring, others wait until midsummer. Some continue flowering deep into autumn. Experienced gardeners often combine early and late blooming clematis together, so something is always flowering from April until October. That is something ivy could never offer. But clematis also has a reputation. Many beginners think it is difficult to grow. In reality, most problems happen because people misunderstand one simple rule gardeners have repeated for generations. Keep the roots cool and the head in the sun. Clematis loves sunlight above ground, but its roots prefer cooler soil conditions. That's why experienced gardeners plant small flowers, mulch, or low shrubs around the base to shade the roots naturally. Once established, the plant becomes surprisingly resilient. And then there's the pruning confusion. Some clematis bloom on old wood, some bloom on new growth, others bloom on both. This sounds complicated at first, but gardeners quickly realize something important. Even badly pruned clematis usually survives and returns stronger than expected. The plant wants to grow. And when it finally reaches maturity, the effect becomes breathtaking. Imagine stepping outside in early morning and seeing giant violet flowers climbing across a trellis while sunlight passes through the petals. Imagine an entire fence covered in blooms so thick the leaves almost disappear underneath. That is why clematis became a symbol of old European cottage gardens. It doesn't just cover structures, it romanticizes them. And unlike ivy, which eventually turns walls into dark, lifeless surfaces, clematis creates movement, softness, fragrance, and seasonal beauty that constantly changes throughout the year. For gardeners who want climbing coverage without sacrificing elegance, clematis is not simply another vine. It is the plant that makes people stop walking just to stare at your garden. Number 11, Trumpet Vine. Most people spend money trying to attract hummingbirds. They hang feeders filled with sugar water. They buy bright flowers in pots. They wait patiently, hoping tiny flashes of color will finally appear in their yard. But once trumpet vine blooms, the hummingbirds come on their own. And they keep coming back. Native to eastern North America, trumpet vine produces massive clusters of fiery orange and deep red trumpet-shaped flowers that seem almost designed specifically for hummingbirds. The long tubular blooms hold nectar deep inside, perfectly suited for the birds' narrow beaks. When the vine reaches full bloom in midsummer, the garden suddenly feels alive. Tiny wings buzz through the air. Birds dart between flowers at incredible speed. Butterflies hover nearby. Bees crowd around the blossoms from sunrise until evening. Very few climbing plants create that kind of constant movement, and the growth is just as impressive as the wildlife attraction. Trumpet vine can easily grow 10 to 15 feet in a single season, quickly covering pergolas, fences, arches, or tall trellises with dense green foliage. Unlike ivy, it climbs by twining and aerial rootlets on supports rather than aggressively invading masonry. But here's the important difference. Trumpet vine needs control. This is not a gentle, slow-moving decorative plant. It is powerful. Once established, it grows with incredible energy, sending out shoots and suckers that can spread far beyond where you originally planted it. Gardeners who ignore it for a few seasons often discover the vine trying to conquer nearby areas of the yard. That aggressive nature is exactly why it creates such spectacular coverage so quickly. But with proper pruning and strong support structures, trumpet vine becomes one of the most rewarding climbers you can grow. And the flowers are unforgettable. Each bloom looks like a miniature trumpet glowing in sunlight. Against the dark green leaves, the colors appear almost tropical vivid orange, burning red, and golden tones that become even brighter during late afternoon light. Then summer heat arrives. This is where trumpet vine truly separates itself from more delicate climbers. While many flowering vines struggle during intense heat waves, trumpet vine thrives in them. The hotter and sunnier the weather becomes, the more aggressively it grows and blooms. That makes it perfect for fences and structures exposed to brutal summer sun where other plants fail. Historically, trumpet vine has grown across rural America for centuries. Long before modern landscaping companies existed, old farmhouses often had giant trumpet vines climbing over porches and wooden arbors, creating natural shade while filling the air with pollinators. And once you see hummingbirds hovering around the flowers at sunset, you understand why people kept planting it generation after generation. Because trumpet vine does something ivy never can. Ivy covers structures. Trumpet vine brings them to life. Instead of a silent green wall, your garden becomes a moving ecosystem filled with color, sound, and motion all summer long. For anyone who wants fast vertical coverage combined with wildlife attraction, trumpet vine may be one of the most exciting climbing plants ever overlooked by modern gardens. Number 10, passion flower. Some plants are beautiful. Some plants are unusual. And then there's passion flower, a vine so strange and mesmerizing that the first Europeans who saw it could barely believe it was real. At first glance, the flower looks almost extraterrestrial. Thin purple and white filaments radiate outward like a glowing crown. Complex geometric patterns sit at the center. Long curved structures rise above the petals like something engineered instead of grown. People don't simply notice passion flower, they stare at it. And once the vine begins climbing across a fence or pergola, it becomes impossible to ignore. But behind the exotic appearance lies one of the fastest and safest climbing plants you can grow. Unlike ivy, passion flower climbs using delicate tendrils that curl around supports without attaching directly to walls. It wraps itself around strings, wire, trellises, and arches while leaving masonry completely untouched. No invasive roots, no cracked surfaces, no trapped moisture slowly destroying your home. Just rapid tropical-looking coverage with some of the most extraordinary flowers in the plant kingdom. And the growth is explosive. Many passion flower varieties can climb 15 to 20 feet in a single growing season under warm conditions. Once summer heat arrives, the vine seems to accelerate every week, sending fresh tendrils outward in every direction, searching for something to climb. Then the flowers begin opening, one after another, day after day. And every bloom looks like a living piece of art. Purple varieties remain the most famous, but passion flowers also bloom in white, blue, pink, and even near black shades depending on the species. Some flowers release a soft tropical fragrance strongest during warm evenings. Others produce edible fruit. Yes, certain passion flower varieties eventually develop passion fruit, the same sweet tropical fruit used in juices and desserts around the world. So the vine becomes ornamental and productive at the same time. But what truly makes passion flower unforgettable is the reaction people have when they see it for the first time. Most climbing plants blend into the background of a garden. Passion flower becomes the center of attention. Visitors stop mid-conversation to ask what it is. Neighbors lean over fences to look closer. Children often think the flowers look fake because the structure appears too perfect to be natural. And historically, the plant fascinated people for another reason. Early Christian missionaries believed different parts of the flower symbolized the crucifixion of Christ. The unusual structures reminded them of crowns, nails, and crosses associated with the Passion of Christ, which is how the plant earned its famous name centuries ago. That mystery only adds to its appeal. But passion flower is not identical everywhere. Some varieties handle cold winters surprisingly well, especially Native American species like Passiflora incarnata. Others are true tropical vines that need warm climates or winter protection. Still, Even gardeners in cooler regions often grow passion flower because the visual payoff is worth the effort. Because once this vine fully covers a trellis in bloom, the structure no longer looks ordinary. It looks tropical, exotic, almost unreal. Ivy may create a dark green wall, but passion flower creates something people remember long after they leave your garden. Number 9. Honeysuckle. Before luxury candles, before artificial air fresheners, before people tried bottling the smell of nature, there was honeysuckle. For generations, this vine grew along fences, porches, and country roadsides, filling summer evenings with a sweet fragrance so powerful that people still remember it decades later. One breath is often enough to trigger memories from childhood. Warm evenings, open windows, the sound of insects at sunset, the smell drifting through the air after a long summer day. Very few plants create that kind of emotional connection. And unlike ivy, honeysuckle offers more than simple green coverage. It gives your garden atmosphere. But here's something important most people never learn. Not all honeysuckle is good. Japanese honeysuckle, once heavily planted across North America, became dangerously invasive in many regions. It spread aggressively through forests and crowded out native plants so efficiently that entire ecosystems began changing because of it. That's why experienced gardeners now recommend native varieties instead, especially coral honeysuckle. And once you see coral honeysuckle in bloom, you understand why. The vine produces elegant tubular flowers in shades of deep coral red, orange, and golden yellow that seem to glow against the foliage. Hummingbirds become obsessed with them. Butterflies follow closely behind. At the same time, the vine climbs safely by twining around supports instead of attaching itself directly to walls. No invasive roots, no structural damage, no slow destruction hidden beneath leaves. Just fast-growing, fragrant coverage that respects the structure behind it. And honeysuckle grows quickly. Many native varieties can easily climb 10 to 15 feet in a single season once established. Given a pergola, fence, or archway, the vine rapidly creates a dense living curtain of foliage and flowers. But the real magic begins in the evening. As temperatures cool, the fragrance intensifies. The scent drifts across patios and seating areas so naturally that many gardeners intentionally plant honeysuckle near outdoor dining spaces, bedroom windows, or garden paths simply to enjoy the smell at night. That fragrance is something modern landscaping often forgot. Today, many gardens look clean and organized, but they feel empty. Beautiful plants with no scent, perfect lawns with no pollinators, landscapes designed more for photographs than for experience. Honeysuckle changes that immediately. It transforms a space from something you only see into something you actually feel. Historically, honeysuckle covered cottages and rural homes across Europe and North America for centuries because people valued more than appearance. They wanted gardens that created emotion. And few vines create emotion better than this one. Even visually, honeysuckle has a softer, more romantic appearance than ivy. The vines weave naturally through supports while clusters of flowers dangle outward like living lanterns, attracting birds and insects from every direction. Then autumn arrives. Some varieties produce bright berries that continue feeding wildlife long after the flowers disappear. So even after blooming ends, the vine still contributes life to the garden. For anyone who wants rapid coverage combined with fragrance, wildlife, nostalgia, and safety for walls, honeysuckle delivers something ivy never truly could. A garden that feels alive even after the sun goes down. Number 8. Star jasmine. Some plants look beautiful from a distance. Star jasmine announces itself before you even see it. The fragrance arrives first. Sweet, rich, almost intoxicating. On warm spring evenings, the scent drifts through open windows, across patios, and along garden paths with a strength that surprises people the first time they experience it. One mature vine can perfume an entire section of a yard so completely that guests immediately start searching for the source. And when they finally find it, they usually cannot believe such small flowers create such powerful fragrance. Because visually, star jasmine appears elegant rather than overwhelming. Tiny white star-shaped blooms scatter across glossy dark green foliage like hundreds of bright stars against a night sky. When the vine reaches peak bloom, the flowers become so dense they nearly cover the leaves beneath them. The entire plant seems to glow in evening light. But what makes star jasmine truly valuable is that the beauty doesn't disappear after flowering season ends. Unlike many fast-growing climbers that become bare or lifeless during colder months, Star jasmine remains evergreen in warm climates. The deep green foliage continues covering fences, pergolas, walls, and trellises year-round, creating constant privacy and color even in winter. That alone makes it far more useful than seasonal vines for many homeowners. And unlike ivy, star jasmine climbs safely. Its flexible twining stems wrap gently around supports without invading masonry or damaging surfaces. The vine needs a trellis, wire system, or pergola to climb properly, which keeps your walls protected while still allowing dense vertical coverage. No cracking mortar, no hidden moisture damage, no nightmare removal process years later. Just elegant greenery and extraordinary fragrance. Growth is surprisingly fast too. In warm regions, star jasmine can easily climb 10 to 15 feet in a single season once established. Given enough sunlight and support, it rapidly transforms plain structures into lush, evergreen living walls. And while many flowering climbers become messy or difficult to control, star jasmine tends to grow with a more refined appearance. The vines weave neatly through supports instead of creating chaotic tangles. That polished look is one reason luxury gardens and high-end courtyards often use it extensively. But there's another reason gardeners love this plant. It thrives where many delicate flowering vines fail. Heat does not bother it. Humidity does not bother it. Urban pollution rarely affects it. And once established, it tolerates drought far better than most people expect. That toughness hidden beneath the elegant appearance makes it incredibly dependable. Historically, star jasmine became popular throughout Mediterranean and Asian-inspired gardens because it could soften harsh stone walls and outdoor spaces without causing structural destruction. Over time, people realized the fragrance alone transformed entire outdoor environments. A plain patio suddenly felt luxurious. An ordinary fence became romantic. An evening garden became unforgettable. Because scent changes how people experience space. And star jasmine may produce one of the most powerful natural fragrances any climbing vine can offer. Ivy creates coverage. Star jasmine creates atmosphere. It turns simple outdoor spaces into places people actually want to stay in long after sunset. Number 7. Silver lace vine. Some climbing plants grow fast. Silver lace vine grows so aggressively that gardeners gave it a nickname that sounds almost exaggerated: the mile-a-minute vine. And once you see this plant during peak summer growth, the name suddenly makes sense. Because silver lace vine doesn't slowly creep upward the way ivy does. It explodes. Fences disappear beneath it. Bare pergolas vanish under green foliage. Ugly sheds become hidden within weeks instead of years. Few perennial climbers on Earth can create dense coverage faster. In a single growing season, silver lace vine can easily stretch 15 to 25 feet, and mature plants sometimes push even farther under ideal conditions. Every week seems to bring another wave of growth as the vine twists aggressively around supports, searching for more space to conquer. Yet despite all that speed, it still avoids the destructive behavior that makes ivy so dangerous. Silver lace vine climbs by twining around structures you provide rather than attaching directly to walls. It needs wires, trellises, fences, pergolas, or arches to support its weight, leaving the actual surface behind the plant untouched. That means you get near-instant coverage without slowly destroying your home underneath. But the real transformation begins in late summer. That's when the flowers arrive. At first, they seem small and insignificant, tiny white blossoms appearing across the vine almost unnoticed. But within days, the number multiplies so dramatically that the entire plant begins looking like it has been covered in white foam or drifting clouds. From a distance, it resembles a waterfall of soft white lace pouring over whatever structure it climbs. That's exactly how it earned the name silver lace. And unlike many flowering vines that bloom briefly before fading away, silver lace vine often continues flowering for weeks while still producing aggressive new growth underneath. The combination feels almost unreal. A plant growing at incredible speed while simultaneously looking soft and delicate. And perhaps the most shocking part is how little the vine demands in return. Poor soil it survives. Drought, usually not a problem once established. Neglect it keeps growing anyway. Many gardeners joke that silver lace vine seems determined to live no matter what happens around it. That toughness makes it perfect for difficult spaces where other climbers struggle along fences, empty property lines, harsh sunny areas, or neglected corners that need immediate transformation. But there is one thing you absolutely must understand before planting it. This vine needs strong support. Not decorative little garden stakes, not weak plastic trellises. A mature silver lace vine becomes extremely heavy because of its sheer volume of growth. Weak structures can bend, crack, or collapse under the weight by late summer, and pruning becomes essential. Fortunately, the vine responds aggressively to trimming. You can cut it back hard and it often returns even thicker than before. Many gardeners actually prefer that because it gives them complete control over shape and size. Still, silver lace vine is not for people who want a quiet, restrained garden plant. This vine is dramatic, aggressive, almost unstoppable. But for homeowners staring at an ugly fence or exposed structure they desperately want hidden as quickly as possible, very few plants in the world can compete with what silver lace vine accomplishes in a single season. Ivy slowly takes over. Silver lace vine overwhelms space with beauty before summer even ends. Number 6, Morning Glory. Most flowers bloom once, then slowly fade away. Morning Glory lives by completely different rules. Every sunrise, the vine creates an entirely new performance. Fresh flowers unfold with the morning light as if the plant reset itself overnight. Brilliant blue, purple, pink, or white blooms open wide toward the sun, covering fences and trellises with colors so vibrant it almost looks painted. Then by afternoon, the flowers begin closing. By evening, many are already fading away. But the next morning, an entirely new wave appears. This cycle repeats every single day for months. That constant renewal is what makes Morning Glory feel almost magical in the garden. No matter how many times you walk outside, the vine always feels fresh and alive. And unlike ivy, Morning Glory creates all of this beauty without ever threatening your walls. The vine climbs using slender twining stems that gently wrap around supports such as string, wire, bamboo poles, fences, or trellises. It never digs into masonry or invades cracks with destructive roots. Your structures stay safe. Meanwhile, the plant races skyward with astonishing speed. From simple seeds planted after the last frost, Morning Glory can easily reach 10 to 15 feet by midsummer. In warm climates, it often grows even faster, transforming empty vertical spaces into dense curtains of foliage and flowers within just a few weeks. And because seeds are inexpensive, gardeners can cover huge areas for almost nothing. That's one reason Morning Glory became a favorite in cottage gardens and rural homes around the world for generations. Even people with very little money could create dramatic living walls filled with color all summer long. But the flowers are what people truly remember. Heavenly Blue became legendary for its intense sky blue blooms that glow during early morning light. Some purple varieties look almost electric against green foliage. White moonflowers open at night instead of morning, releasing soft fragrance into evening air beneath moonlight. Different varieties can completely change the atmosphere of a garden. And despite the delicate appearance, Morning Glory is surprisingly resilient. Heat rarely stops it. Poor soil usually doesn't matter much. Strong summer sunlight only encourages more flowering. The vine simply keeps climbing. There's also something emotionally satisfying about growing a plant that changes every day. Many gardens become visually static after a while, the same shapes, the same colors, the same appearance week after week. Morning Glory refuses to stay still. Every morning feels slightly different. New flowers appear in new places. Fresh colors emerge from tangled vines. Sunlight passes through delicate petals that did not even exist the day before. That constant transformation gives the garden energy. But Morning Glory does come with one warning. It self-seeds aggressively. Once established, the plant often returns year after year from dropped seeds. Some gardeners love this because the vine practically replants itself forever. Others prefer removing seed pods to keep it controlled. Either way, the growth is incredibly easy to manage compared to the permanent structural damage ivy eventually causes. Because when autumn finally arrives, Morning Glory simply disappears with the frost. No invasive roots remain attached to your walls. No endless cleanup battle begins. Just seeds waiting quietly for spring. And maybe that's why gardeners have loved Morning Glory for centuries. It reminds people that beauty does not need to last forever to feel unforgettable. Sometimes the flowers that vanish every evening are the ones people appreciate most each morning. Number 5, Wisteria. There are beautiful climbing plants. And then there is Wisteria. When a mature Wisteria blooms for the first time, people usually stop talking mid-sentence. Because nothing prepares you for the sight. Massive clusters of flowers hang downward like waterfalls frozen in motion. Purple, blue, pink, or white blossoms cascade from overhead beams and curtains, sometimes reaching 3 feet long. The fragrance drifts through the air with a richness that feels almost unreal. For a few weeks each year, a blooming wisteria can make an ordinary garden look like something from a fantasy film. And unlike ivy, it creates this spectacle without slowly destroying the walls behind it. Wisteria climbs by, twining powerfully around supports rather than attaching directly to masonry. Given a strong pergola, arbor, or trellis, the vine wraps itself upward with incredible force while leaving walls untouched. But that word force matters, because wisteria is unbelievably strong. A mature vine can twist thick wooden beams, bend metal supports, and crush weak structures over time. Tiny decorative trellises stand no chance against it. Gardeners who underestimate wisteria often discover their support systems collapsing years later beneath the plant's enormous weight. This is not a delicate climber. It is a giant. And that power is exactly what allows it to become so spectacular. Once established, wisteria can spread across entire pergolas, creating dense, natural ceilings of foliage and flowers that cast moving shade beneath them. During bloom season, sunlight filters through hanging flower clusters like colored rain. The effect feels almost cinematic. But here's the truth many gardening channels never mention. Wisteria demands patience. A lot of patience. Some varieties take 3, 5, even 7 years before producing serious blooms. That waiting period frustrates many homeowners who expect instant results. For years, the vine may seem like nothing more than aggressive green growth climbing everywhere without reward. Then suddenly one spring, it explodes into bloom, and everything changes. That delayed payoff is one reason ancient estates and historic gardens often feature extraordinary wisteria plants. The people who planted them understood they were creating beauty not just for themselves, but for future generations. Because wisteria can live for decades, sometimes over a century. Every year it grows thicker, more twisted, more dramatic. Older vines eventually resemble living sculptures wrapped around pergolas and garden structures. But modern gardeners also learned something important. Not all wisteria should be planted everywhere. Traditional Asian species like Chinese and Japanese wisteria became invasive in many parts of the world, spreading aggressively through forests and overwhelming native ecosystems. That's why many experts now recommend American wisteria or Kentucky wisteria instead. These native varieties still deliver breathtaking blooms without becoming ecological disasters. And once flowering season finally arrives, very few people care whether the vine took years to mature, because the display feels worth every second of waiting. The hanging flower clusters sway gently in the wind. The fragrance spreads across entire properties. Visitors stop beneath pergolas just to look upward in silence. Ivy creates green coverage. Wisteria creates moments people remember for the rest of their lives. It doesn't merely decorate a structure. It transforms it into the most dramatic feature in the entire garden. Number 4. Hyacinth bean. Most climbing plants offer one season of beauty. Hyacinth bean gives you 3. First come the flowers, then the glowing purple pods, then the deep violet seeds that look almost polished by hand. From midsummer until frost, the entire vine keeps changing colors and textures like a living work of art climbing across your garden structures. And unlike ivy, every stage of its growth adds beauty instead of destruction. Because hyacinth bean climbs safely by twining around supports rather than attaching itself directly to walls. Trellises, strings, pergolas, fences, and arches become wrapped in fast-growing vines while the surfaces behind them remain untouched and protected. No invasive roots, no cracked mortar, no hidden moisture damage slowly rotting structures from underneath. Just rapid vertical color unlike almost any other climber on this list. And the growth is shockingly fast. Planted from seed after the final frost, hyacinth bean can easily climb 15 to 20 feet before summer ends. Within weeks, the vine begins sending out purple-tinted stems and large heart-shaped leaves that quickly create dense living coverage. But the real transformation begins when flowering starts. Clusters of pinkish-purple blooms appear suspended across the vine like miniature orchids. Hummingbirds and bees immediately begin visiting them. Then, almost overnight, glossy purple seed pods emerge behind the flowers. And suddenly the plant no longer looks ordinary. It looks exotic. The contrast becomes stunning: green foliage, purple stems, violet pods, lavender flowers. Few vines create that much visual drama from a single planting. And historically, this plant has fascinated gardeners for centuries. Even Thomas Jefferson grew hyacinth bean at Monticello and repeatedly praised it in his garden records. Out of all the ornamental plants available during his time, this was one he continued planting again and again. That says something, because Jefferson was obsessed with unusual and beautiful crops from around the world, and hyacinth bean stood out even among them. Part of its appeal came from how productive it looked. Unlike purely decorative vines, hyacinth bean gives the impression of abundance everywhere it grows. Flowers overlap with pods, pods overlap with leaves. The vine feels alive with constant development. And despite its luxurious appearance, it's surprisingly easy to grow. Heat it thrives in it. Strong summer sun even better. Poor soil, usually not a major problem. Once temperatures rise, the vine grows with remarkable energy. That makes it ideal for gardeners who want dramatic coverage fast without spending years maintaining delicate plants. But there's another reason people love hyacinth bean. It photographs beautifully. The rich purples and layered textures create a kind of natural elegance modern landscaping often lacks. A plain fence suddenly looks artistic once the vine fully climbs across it. And because it's an annual in many climates, gardeners maintain complete control over where it grows each year. No permanent invasion, no endless battle trying to remove woody roots later. When frost finally arrives, the vine simply fades away. Then next spring, you can begin again. Fresh growth, fresh flowers, fresh purple cascades climbing into the sunlight. Ivy gives you endless green monotony. Hyacinth bean gives you a season-long transformation filled with color, movement, and beauty strong enough to captivate gardeners for centuries. Number 3, black-eyed Susan vine. Summer destroys many climbing plants. The heat becomes too intense. The soil dries too quickly. Flowers fade. Leaves wilt. Growth slows to a crawl. But black-eyed Susan vine seems to thrive under the exact conditions that make other vines surrender. When temperatures rise and the sun becomes relentless, this cheerful climber keeps blooming as if nothing happened. And that alone makes it one of the most underrated flowering vines modern gardeners overlook. At first glance, the flowers seem simple. Bright orange, golden yellow, creamy white, or soft apricot petals surround a dark center that gives the vine its famous black eye appearance. But once dozens, then hundreds of blooms begin opening across the plant. The effect becomes surprisingly powerful. The vine starts looking like sunlight climbing upward. And unlike ivy, black-eyed Susan vine creates all of this color without threatening the structures behind it. Its slender twining stems wrap delicately around thin supports such as string, wire, bamboo poles, and narrow trellises. The vine never aggressively attaches itself to walls or buries roots into masonry. That means even small patios, balconies, and compact gardens can enjoy dense vertical flowering coverage safely. And the blooming feels endless. Many climbing plants explode with flowers for a few weeks, then slowly decline. Black-eyed Susan vine simply keeps going. From early summer until frost, fresh flowers continue appearing day after day with almost no effort from the gardener. No complicated pruning schedules, no constant maintenance, no obsessive care routines. Just sunlight, warmth, and something to climb. That simplicity is one reason the plant became beloved in cottage gardens and warm climate landscapes around the world. And despite the delicate flowers, the vine grows surprisingly fast. By midsummer, plants started from seed can easily climb 8 to 10 feet, creating soft flowering curtains perfect for fences, arches, porch railings, or container trellises. Container growing is actually where this vine becomes especially impressive. Many climbers eventually outgrow pots or become difficult to manage in confined spaces. Black-eyed Susan vine remains elegant and controlled while still producing massive amounts of color. A single large container with a trellis can completely transform a balcony or small outdoor seating area into something vibrant and alive. And because the flowers stay relatively small, the overall appearance feels lighter and more graceful than heavier climbers like Wisteria or Trumpet vine. Wind moves through it beautifully. Sunlight passes between blooms. The entire vine seems animated during summer afternoons. But perhaps the most valuable trait is resilience. Scorching heat, no problem. Intense direct sunlight, it keeps flowering. Long dry stretches, usually manageable once established. In many hot climates, gardeners struggle to find climbers that continue looking fresh during peak summer. black-eyed Susan vine often looks happiest precisely when the weather becomes unbearable for everything else. That reliability makes it incredibly useful for sunny walls, exposed fences, and overheated patios where more delicate vines fail repeatedly. And emotionally, the plant creates something important too: optimism. There's something about those bright, cheerful flowers opening non-stop through brutal summer heat that changes the mood of a space. The garden feels energetic, alive, unstoppable. Ivy creates dark green black-eyed Susan vine creates warmth, movement, and joy that lasts all season long. Number 2, sweet autumn clematis. By the time autumn arrives, most gardens are already beginning to fade. Summer flowers disappear, leaves lose their color, blooming vines slow down and prepare for winter. The garden starts feeling tired, and then sweet autumn clematis wakes up. Just when nearly every other flowering climber is finished for the year, this vine suddenly explodes into bloom with such intensity that entire fences, pergolas, and trellises disappear beneath waves of tiny white flowers. From a distance, it looks less like a plant, and more like a drifting cloud suspended over the garden. That dramatic transformation is what made sweet autumn clematis legendary among gardeners who wanted beauty late in the season when everything else looked exhausted. And unlike ivy, it achieves this effect without damaging walls or structures. Like other clematis varieties, sweet autumn clematis climbs using delicate leaf tendrils that wrap around supports you provide. Wires, trellises, fences, pergolas, and arches become covered rapidly while masonry behind the plant remains completely untouched. No invasive attachment roots, no structural destruction hidden beneath foliage, no nightmare removal process years later. Just astonishing late-season beauty, and the speed surprises almost everyone who grows it. Sweet autumn clematis can easily climb 15 to 20 feet in a single season once established, rivaling silver lace vine for rapid coverage. Throughout spring and summer, the vine quietly builds dense green foliage without attracting much attention. Then September arrives, and suddenly the entire plant changes. Thousands upon thousands of tiny white flowers burst open all at once. The foliage beneath nearly disappears beneath the bloom coverage. In evening light, the vine almost glows against darker autumn surroundings. But the flowers are only part of the experience. The fragrance is what people remember most. A soft, honey-like sweetness drifts through the air during late summer evenings, becoming especially noticeable near patios, windows, and garden paths. At a time of year when many gardens no longer offer scent at all, sweet autumn clematis fills outdoor spaces with fragrance strong enough to stop people in their tracks. That contrast is powerful. While other plants prepare for dormancy, this vine reaches its peak. And emotionally, there's something almost comforting about that timing. Most flowering vines celebrate spring or midsummer. Sweet autumn clematis celebrates the ending of the season itself. It brings one final explosion of life before winter arrives. Historically, gardeners loved using it to soften fences and pergolas because the bloom timing extended the beauty of outdoor spaces far beyond what most gardens could offer naturally. Even today, many people plant it specifically so their landscapes still feel vibrant deep into fall. And maintenance remains surprisingly simple. Unlike some delicate climbers requiring constant shaping, sweet autumn clematis responds beautifully to hard pruning. Many gardeners simply cut it back heavily in late winter, and by spring the vine launches upward again with remarkable energy. Year after year, season after season, the performance repeats itself. But perhaps the most impressive thing about sweet autumn clematis is the emotional reaction it creates. People expect spring flowers. They expect summer color. They do not expect a massive, fragrant white bloom explosion in autumn. So when visitors see it fully flowering in September or October, the reaction is almost always surprise, followed immediately by admiration. Because at the exact moment the garden seems ready to fall asleep, sweet autumn clematis reminds everyone how beautiful endings can be. Number 1, climbing hydrangea. Most climbing plants come with a warning. Keep them away from your walls. Never let them attach directly to masonry. Use supports or risk structural damage later. And usually, those warnings are absolutely correct. Ivy destroys mortar. Aggressive vines trap moisture. Clinging roots slowly invade cracks and weaken surfaces year after year. That's why most gardeners believe one thing is impossible: a self-clinging vine that attaches directly to walls safely. But climbing hydrangea changes everything. Because according to horticulturists, including experts from the Royal Horticultural Society, climbing hydrangea is one of the only self-attaching vines considered genuinely safe for masonry surfaces when grown properly. In some cases, it may even help protect them. That sounds unbelievable at first, but the science behind it is fascinating. Unlike ivy, which aggressively penetrates cracks and traps, damaging moisture against structures, climbing hydrangea attaches using tiny aerial rootlets that rest gently against the surface rather than forcing their way deep inside. Instead of damaging masonry, the vine creates a protective outer layer that shields walls from extreme temperature fluctuations, heavy rain exposure, and freeze-thaw cycles that slowly wear surfaces down over time. Studies and horticultural observations have shown that walls covered with mature climbing hydrangea often remain more stable and less weather damaged than fully exposed masonry. In other words, this vine doesn't just avoid destroying walls, it can actually help defend them. And visually, the plant is breathtaking in a completely different way from the other climbers on this list. Climbing hydrangea does not scream for attention with tropical flowers or explosive colors. Its beauty feels older, quieter, more elegant. Large white lace-cap flower clusters bloom during summer like floating clouds suspended against deep green foliage. The blooms appear especially luminous in shaded gardens where many flowering climbers struggle to survive at all. That shade tolerance alone makes climbing hydrangea incredibly valuable. Most fast-growing flowering vines demand intense sunlight. This one thrives where others fail. North-facing walls, shaded courtyards, dark garden corners beneath trees. Places ivy traditionally dominated for decades can now become filled with flowers instead of endless aggressive greenery. And once established, climbing hydrangea becomes incredibly long-lived. But here's the important part most people misunderstand. It starts slowly. Very slowly. The first year or two often disappoint impatient gardeners because the plant seems almost reluctant to grow. While silver lace vine or hops races upward immediately, climbing hydrangea quietly focuses on establishing roots. Then suddenly, everything changes. Once mature, the vine begins climbing aggressively, eventually reaching 30, 40, even 50 feet tall over time while covering walls with dense textured foliage and massive blooms. And unlike many climbers that become unattractive during winter, climbing hydrangea still offers beauty after the leaves fall. Its cinnamon-colored exfoliating bark peels back in layers, giving walls texture and visual interest even during cold months. Older vines begin looking almost architectural, historic, timeless. That's one reason climbing hydrangea became so beloved in traditional European gardens and old estates. Decade after decade, the plant simply becomes more beautiful instead of turning into a destructive problem. And emotionally, it offers something no other climber on this list truly provides: peace of mind. You never have to worry that the beautiful green wall covering your home is secretly destroying it underneath. No hidden damage, no regret years later, no expensive removal nightmare waiting in the future. Just a living layer of flowers and foliage growing more beautiful every season. Ivy forces homeowners to choose between beauty and safety. Climbing hydrangea proves you can finally have both. For decades, people believed ivy was the only answer for fast vertical coverage. If you wanted privacy, if you wanted a living wall, if you wanted ugly fences to disappear beneath greenery, you planted ivy and hoped for the best. But now you know the truth. There are climbing plants that grow faster, flower longer, smell better, attract more wildlife, and protect your structures instead of destroying them. Hops grows almost unbelievably fast and disappears peacefully each winter. Clematis transforms walls into living artwork. Trumpet vine fills gardens with hummingbirds and motion. Passionflower looks like something from another planet. Honeysuckle turns summer evenings into memories. Star jasmine perfumes entire patios with fragrance. Silver lace vine creates instant coverage in weeks. Morning glory reinvents itself every sunrise. Wisteria delivers some of the most dramatic blooms on Earth. Hyacinth bean floods gardens with deep purple color. Black-eyed Susan vine thrives when summer heat defeats everything else. Sweet autumn clematis saves the garden with one final explosion of flowers before winter. And climbing hydrangea proved something most homeowners never thought possible. A climbing vine can actually help protect your walls instead of damaging them. That changes everything, because you no longer need to choose between beauty and safety. You no longer need to accept structural damage as the price for lush greenery. Better options exist. Smarter options exist. And many of them have been quietly growing in gardens for centuries while modern landscaping kept pushing people back toward ivy. So now the real question becomes, which one would you plant first? Would you choose fragrance, fast coverage, wildlife attraction, massive flowers, evergreen privacy, or a vine that transforms your walls into something timeless? Tell me in the comments which climbing plant impressed you most and what structure around your home desperately needs covering. And if this video helped you discover safer alternatives to ivy, subscribe to the channel because modern gardening forgot far more wisdom than most people realize. There are still countless forgotten plants, survival crops, hidden growing techniques, and ancient gardening secrets waiting to be uncovered. Until next time, keep growing smarter, not just greener.